How's it going, everybody? I just want to give you a few tips on fixing your door handle if you pull it and it doesn't open. I just fixed mine, and as you can see, when you pull it, it does open now. And if you've done some research and watched a few videos, you know that this is kind of like a wiring harness that you need to change. Hopefully, you've ordered the part and are looking to get started. But I watched a few videos myself, and I just wanted to again comment on like a few things that I noticed while actually doing it myself. One thing is that it took me about 4 hours or 5 hours or so. And that was just kind of like, first time trying to figure everything out, trying not to break anything, right? So, first tip I want to give you is that there's a bolt in here somewhere. You're gonna have to remove this chrome part, and again, I'm not really gonna show you how to do it just because there's a bunch of videos doing that already. But you remove this part, right, and then there's a bolt here that you're gonna have to remove because that is holding the actual door harness in place, right, or the actual like door handle mechanism in place. And I think that's the first step you should do because I think that's the trickiest one. And also, you want to make sure you get a flat wrench for that when that ratchets, because it is pretty difficult. And you want to get one that's actually, again, thin, because the space that has to fit in between is pretty narrow. And again, you don't want to scratch your glass, which I actually did a little bit. So yeah, you want to make sure that you either wrap it in tape or get one that's like extremely thin that won't make any contact at all. Now, that's one thing. The other thing is that, I talked to a Tesla mechanic about being able to kind of fix this door myself. And one tip that he gave me, which I haven't really heard other people talk about, is that when you are pulling the door apart, so again, you're going to take the screws out of here and out of here, right? There's a few bolts. There's like a number 10 right here, and then a 30 that you have to take out. And after that, you basically start pulling. You pull the speaker grill out and you pull this part out. Now, other videos have made it seem pretty easy. I found it to be pretty difficult. Like, again, the tip that the Tesla mechanic gave me was that when you're pulling it, it's going to sound like a bunch of things are breaking, but they're not. That's just how they pop out, which I think is actually pretty cool how they design it, that you just pull it and the things pop out and you can pop them back in. I think that's really efficient. So yeah, it's not as easy as just yanking here and then it pops off once these screws are out. It actually takes a little bit of like, I don't know, I would start here basically and start pulling and pulling like at the bottom and such like that. And once you hear stuff popping out, they all kind of start popping out together. And yeah, I think that's one tip I'd give you. Now, the other is that you probably do want to have a second person helping you. There is kind of a lot. This isn't heavy by any means, this part, but there are a lot of wires, and just kind of like making sure that none of those are getting yanked out and such like that when you are disconnecting things. That can be kind of difficult to do by yourself. So if you can have somebody else help you while they hold this or you hold this and you're disconnecting a bunch of things, that would really help. But then after that, all you really have to do is again disconnect some wires, and then there's a plate back here that you undo. Mine was like a 20 basically. So after that, you can go in and you can take out the whole door handle apparatus basically. Now, here's the probably the biggest tip I'll give you in this is that I thought it was done, right? I thought I had done everything. I took out the door handle, I changed the harness in there, and then I tested it out and it was working. And as you can see, again, it was opening after that. So again, you pull this and it opens, right? But the one thing that it wasn't doing, it was when I was driving away, it wasn't retracting indoors, right? It wasn't retracting inside. So that kind of gave me a little bit of an issue as well. Like, I was like, okay, what else did I break, right? But what happened is that these doors, the handle itself is very difficult to align. If you don't align it properly, it's going to get stuck, and it's not going to retract or properly, and it might not come out properly. So really take your time aligning the door handle, making sure that it doesn't catch on anything at all when coming out, and it retracts smoothly when going in. And that can take you some time. I think total, like, I had to again do it again once I installed everything. I took everything apart again and kind of maneuvered it a little bit. But I think I maybe moved it less than a centimeter up and to the right, maybe, or I don't even remember, but it was very, very fine, right? Very, very fine. And then I found that if I moved it down a little bit more or up a little more, it would still get stuck. So just that small little adjustment made it so I couldn't, or it wasn't retracting when I was driving away. But as you can see, it retracted there, which is good. And again, everything is working fine. But yeah, those are the tips I wanted to give you again just before doing all this. Again, make sure when you're pulling apart your door, it's going to sound like it's breaking. Don't be afraid. I think that's pretty much how they design it. Try to get somebody else to help you, because again, it'll go much quicker when it's a two-person job. Make sure you align this and such like that, and make sure you start with this bolt first, and make sure you have all the proper tools. Again, you're going to need probably a number 10 and 30 bit for taking out some of the screws. But as far as tools go, it's actually not too bad. You can pretty much do this whole thing with maybe 3 or 4 different tools. But yeah, that should be pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Thanks for watching.